Kyler Staley. How's it going?
Going great, man. It's IU basketball media day, so getting geared up for that. It's going to be a good time, but it's going right now.
We were talking in the break. You're asking about the goatee bites. Great question about because you nut allergy, and some of them do have nuts in them, but I look through some that don't. So yeah, you have to be. I'm looking for the ones that. There you go. Tree nuts. How about tree nuts?
Yep,
You allergic?
I'm allergic to all types.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I wonder. I didn't hear that was not a thing when I was a kid. And it exploded though. The nut allergy thing.
Yeah, it's
like soy.
Yeah.
Where did that come from? That was not or lactose free stuff. That was not a thing when I was growing up. I didn't.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard for me because there's nuts in literally everything. I struggle with like Chinese food and things like that, so I always got to be extremely cautious with that. But it's a very annoying allergy, I will say that.
I would imagine. Would it make your eyes swell up?
Oh yeah, it's bad. It's like EpiPen bad. I gotta stab that into my thigh. Get that adrenaline going and stuff like that. So it's not fun. I'll tell you that. I try to avoid it the best I can.
That reminds me of Horrible Bosses.
Oh yeah, that's a good reference.
Oh man, put it in the shampoo. I think. Indiana basketball update. I saw the Rivals. Alec put out a piece yesterday on getting everyone caught up on the IU targets, where they are in the Rivals 150, which there were many on that list. I have to get back to that thing where I've got to get too many open, but a lot of shaking going on. But what's the latest happenings in Indiana basketball?
So, yesterday, probably the guy that's ranked the highest easily in the 2024 class with these updated Rivals rankings was Flory Bidunga. Yep. And then all four of the coaches, Mike Woodson, Kenya Hunter, Yasir Roseman, and Brian Walsh, were in Kokomo last night to see Flory. So they went in 4 deep. Usually when they do that, that means that, they've got their eyes set. You are a premier target for them. I'm not for sure if there was any other coaches from different colleges that were there yesterday, but Travis Graff from Rivals, our national recruiting analyst, was also there in attendance, and he mentioned that Flory just looks like he's added weight. He's added muscle. He looked a lot better. His ball handling looks improved, even though it was actually, for his size over the summer, it looked really good. So, they're locked in on him now. They sent an offer weeks ago, and, he's going to be a premier target for that 2024 class. Right now, he's probably in that second tier right now, but we'll see if he jumps into that first tier or not.
When you say that second tier, what does that mean?
So if you look at it, Alec did a good job of breaking it down. Indiana's got their premier targets. They've got the 3 guys, and, if you actually look at it, all 3 of them are from Montverde Academy: Liam McNeely, Asa Newell, and Derek Queen. Those are guys that they've kind of stuck with, for a long time, since the spring. Flory recently has just became a target for them, but, with his talent, in state and everything, with them, just now jumping on him, he's in that second tier. And obviously there's a third tier. There's, notable guys that they have interest in and things like that. So, that's just something to look out for. If they're in that first tier, that means, Indiana's all locked in on them like they are with the Montverde guys.
I'm trying to count real quick. 16. I see 16 listed, and as Alec, that's just in the third tier.
Yeah.
Now Alec has Flory in the third tier, which
yeah,
I would find that shocking that anybody would put Flory Bidunga in the third tier. I know what you mentioned about those other guys, but Flory Bidunga is going to be a guy that I think whoever gets him, he's going to end up being a centerpiece. And I think that it would be a mistake for Indiana not to make him a priority for 2 reasons. Number one, even though he's not an Indiana kid, he's going to high school in Indiana, and they have not done much with that. I know we've got Jalen Harrelson and Sisley in that 25 class and some other guys, but that's still down the road. He's just going to be a hell of a talent. And I think if they certainly don't want to play against him. That's for sure. I think he's going to be hell on wheels when he gets to college.
Right. And he just went on a visit to Purdue and Butler. So, those are two in-state schools right there where he's taking visits. So it's not obviously I think he's going to get on campus for a visit. It'd be crazy not to have him on campus considering he's here, but he's a phenom. You don't see players like him. I've never seen a high school player with his talent, with his skill already. He's so smart as a big, and considering he's only played about 4 years of competitive basketball, for him to be this good is crazy. But his recruiting is going to explode. It already has. There's going to be more offers that come that way. So it's a little difficult to talk with him and everything. There's still those translation issues and things like that. So it's going to be kind of kept under a rock for a little bit longer, but we'll see it explode probably towards the senior year, considering where he's going to go and not.
And then let's just go back to the top targets, though. Asa Newell, the names that we've mentioned, Derek Queen, Liam McNeely, all from now all at Montverde Academy. And with Indiana already having two guys in, if those two guys have great experiences, it's obviously they're going to pass that along to these guys and say, dude, it's great here. It's awesome. They take care of you. I've got NIL deals set up, yada, yada. Come here. We'll make our own deal. I could see that. It would be a little disappointing for some Indiana fans. I know that they just want to see Indiana win. That's all they care about. But not having that Indiana flavor in that does leave it missing a little something. I don't think fans want to see Indiana be Kentucky or Duke. They want to see Indiana be Indiana, which is what they were before, doing what they did, competing on that level, but mostly with Indiana kids. And I'm not saying that's how it has to be. Purdue is not going to win a national championship because they've got all those Indiana kids. Not going to work. You have to get the best of the best, and I get that. I just think that there's a balance and a mix, and that's not going to happen for another couple of years, it looks like, probably.
Probably not. And if you want to stick with, the 2024 class, it's not deep, in state-wise. Flory's at the top. There's Jack Benner. There's Cannon Catchings, which those two already committed to Purdue. So, Painter's, he's still with his philosophy of, getting the best in-state talent. But other than that, there's a big drop-off. So, Indiana's pretty much forced to have to go out of state to get these guys and everything. And like I've said many times, Mike Woodson's not going to just recruit the state of Indiana. He's going to recruit the best talent in the nation. He's going to get guys that he feels is going to fit his system well. He's going to get some high-level guys. Whereas Archie Miller kind of struggled with that. He had the good idea of, the inside-out approach. But problem is he burned so many bridges that, he was forced to recruit in-state. And obviously what we saw, that obviously doesn't work a whole ton. But, Painter's made it work. He's got 2 out of the 3 best players in this class of 2024. If Indiana can grab Flory, in the next couple of years, that would be huge for them. He's the overall best player. Could make a case as the best player in the world right now. So we'll see with that. But, they've got that Montverde pipeline right now. And as you can see, they've got 3 top-tier guys that they're going to go after, and they've all got visits coming up.
So they got like 5 guys ranked in the top 100 that they are was that 4 rather? Well, yeah, because Jaden Mustafa is down in the second tier, number 42. Riley Burgess, Caleb Williams, guys like that Alec lists in the second tier. And then we move on to the third tier, which is just a litany of names, but it's headlined by Flory Bidunga at the number 2 spot. Arius Bailey is number 5 ranked. Bryson Tucker, Dylan Harper, Yes Missy. Those guys are all in the top. Dink Pate. All those guys are in the top 20 of the rankings, and there's plenty more. Obviously, there's tons of teams recruiting all these guys. So, of that second tier, who are the really? There's only 3: Jaden Mustafa, Raleigh Burgess, Caleb Williams, have they put much time in on those guys?
I would say they have. Towards the end of the summer, Jaden Mustafa became, a guy that they were watching quite a bit. Watching all the circuit games and things like that. So he was a guy that kind of came in towards the middle end of the summer where they kind of watched him. Riley Burgess has already been on campus, so he's a guy that they're looking at and everything. It's been kind of quiet a little bit. He actually went, I would say, probably a month ago. He was on campus for the camps that they were having and for a weekend. So he's kind of there. I mean, I've talked to him. He says Indiana's it's a good spot for him. He really likes it. He loves, just the culture of it. He loves the campus life, things like that. Caleb Williams, is another guy that they've looked at and everything. He's kind of newer in the scene or whatever. So we'll just see how that kind of grows with that. It's still, even though they're kind of in the 2024 class, it's still just a little bit early. You'll get them, kind of locked in on that once AAU starts next in the spring.
Let's see. And then we've talked about some of these third tier guys like Flory Bidunga already. I'm trying to look at anyone else that's even, none of these guys are even close. There's not an Indiana kid on there other than Flory. Anybody in that third tier that really kind of is poised to move up a little bit on Indiana's list?
Yeah, it would probably have to be Flory, considering what we saw yesterday for them to go 4 deep there to watch him. Even though Jalen Harrelson, he was a guy, they had a Fisher's NBA combine. There wasn't a coach there, which isn't a big deal. Obviously, they've seen him plenty of times and everything, but, they wanted to make it known, for them to all 4 be there that, hey, Flory's a guy that, we consider highly of. And we want to kind of continue to build that relationship with him. So it would have to be Flory. I mean, other than that, these other guys, they've offered, but, there's not much traction with them as of yet. I mean, they just offered that Tyler Betsy kid. I think Kenya Hunter saw him last week. But, those guys right now, they just have offers, and we'll just see if they can kind of continue to build the relationships with them. But right now, I would say Flory's probably that next guy that you could see getting into the second or first tier.
What do they do in this class, since they don't seem to really, they've got two more open scholars
in the 24 class? Not entirely for sure. They haven't had a commitment in the 24 class. So,
well, I meant for next year, you've got Gabe Cups and who's the other kid coming in? Ja'Kai Newton. I think, don't they have 2 more? I think they have 2 more Schollies available for that class.
I believe so. Yeah. And,
and we don't have an indication of who's going to fill those 2 spots. And it doesn't seem like they're, early on you had the, Arrington Page, they seemed like they were in on, and that seems now to have not that they're not in on him, but it seemed there's just been not a lot of information out of that camp since he went to his visit to Miami. Don't know where that is right now.
Yeah.
Any word on that?
Yeah. So Alec had mentioned, and I can let Alec talk a little bit more about this tomorrow, but he had mentioned that right now it looks like it's going to be Cincinnati and USC are in the top 2 for him.
That's amazing to me. How is Cincinnati in the top 2?
It has to do with his teammate, his point guard teammate that he's played with for years, played over the summer with him. Cincinnati and USC are recruiting both of them pretty hard. It's kind of a package deal. So that's just kind of where that stands right now. Indiana's at a distant third, but Indiana did everything that they could with Page. They really made him a priority and everything. And it's just kind of, they don't get him. It's just kind of, let's just wipe our hands, continue to go with the team that we have. Transfer portal is always an option. There could be a late bloomer. You've got the possibility of Derek Queen reclassifying to the 2023 class. Obviously, that wouldn't take place till the spring. There's still options out there. It's not the end of the world. They still got 2 really good players for the 23 class, but they're going to have to really focus on finding a front court piece to fill that role once Trace and Race leave.